Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly Art of Divination podcast. Tonight, I'm glad we actually made these plans with this weather. We have Ashley, my daughter, here. We're going to be talking about smudging. We've got a great show lined up for you. And tonight's kind of the perfect night to stay home and just watch the podcast, isn't it? Who wants to be out there on those roads? Mm-hmm. Certainly not me. So we'd like to welcome you all for joining us to our weekly show. And as I said, we are talking about smudging. And we have a lot of great information lined up for you. What are you doing, Jacqueline? Are you just being silly and trying to distract us? Jacqueline. Jacqueline's not at cadets tonight. There's no cadets tonight, so we've got trouble with us.
I am not. And then we're mad there too. Say hello, guys. Hey. Hola, amigo.
So, we'd like to thank you all for joining us. Have we got viewers yet, Justin?
Yeah, we got Sue Martin joined and Terry joined.
Hey, Sue. Hey, Terry.
Hey,
it's
Sue
a great night to stay in and watch a show and have some hot chocolate, isn't it? So, I guess we're going to get started now. I just want to remind everybody about the Roots for Youth House. It is a wonderful community organization, and they do great work. They're 100% dependent on donations, so like we keep reiterating, blankets, towels, clothes, coats. Just if it's stuff that's in good shape and you don't need it anymore, instead of taking it to the Red Cross bin, take it to Roots. They could also use donations of gift cards when they run out of stuff, personal items, shower items, just anything like that. Also, more importantly, what they can really use is your time. They have a lot of volunteers that offer their time, but they can always use more. And they have the Roots House, which is like a temporary shelter, and then they have 2 transition houses. Yep. So it's grown quite big in the time that it's been around.
If you're out of the county, like Pictou County, they can help you get into the county.
Exactly. I was actually going to say that they will help people get into the county. Jacqueline, can you? Yep. So they're a wonderful organization, and they're not just dedicated to Pictou County residents. I know for a fact of a young person that they helped get from Truro when they were homeless. So the Roots for Youth House, I really got to get their number. I gave it to you once before, but I really have to put something up about that. The other place I know that is looking for donations is the SPCA. They need some good warm blankets. Knitted blankets are not ideally the best because of the claws on the dogs and cats and stuff. They cut through them and tangle up and stuff like that. But they are currently looking for blankets.
You can get them at the dollar store for like $3. I bought one for Amber's cat for Christmas one year.
Exactly. And they have those fleece blankets.
Yeah.
The pet blankets.
Or even like the ones that you can put on the car seat or something like that.
But it's not, if 10 people each brought over a blanket, $3 cost to you, or even one that you have lying around that you don't use anymore, that would give them 10 new blankets. So
you can even go get some old receiving blankets from the dollar store, even Salvation Army too, which they could also be looking for like volunteers and stuff like that. While I'm bringing up volunteering.
I'm just right now concentrating on Roots and SPCA, but it is a good point. So the other thing I want to say is everybody knows we're trying to grow. We'd like to get bigger premises. We'd like to get a private room for readings, especially with all the guest readers that we're taking in now. The store has really grown in the 6 months we've been open. Yeah. And we offer such a variety of stuff that the way that you can help us grow is liking and sharing on Facebook. Most of our advertising is done through Facebook. I simply don't have a budget for advertising elsewhere. But when everybody likes and shares and it keeps it going around and brings the store to more people's attention, it really does help me grow. And also, please tell your friends. I'm trying to work on a new location right now. Justin, you look like you have a question.
Jackie Watson says hi, everyone.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mia.
How are you? My mom, she's like so dedicated to the store. She shares everything so much. And she's such a wonderful asset to have on your side. So just a shout out to you, Mom. Thanks for all your support and determination to help me.
And your sharing and your liking and your, go like this page.
And even when I'm whining and having a bad day, I call my mommy. She's a rock. You're amazing, Mom.
It's not the kind of rock that you use in your... Yeah, she's not one of our magic crystals, but she's kind of like a magic crystal.
I also want to say we're open again on Mondays. It wasn't really working, closing on Mondays, so we're open again. And spread it along. We're open 6 days a week. Once again, I had a little break, and I feel really good about that. So the next thing, don't forget, we're going to give away a free tarot reading at the end of the night. We're guessing numbers between 1 and 40, and I've already written down the number. So anytime during the show, yeah, Ashley, you picked it, yeah. And guess your number, and we will keep track of names.
Yep.
And let you know who won and do the reading at the end of the show.
Yep. And Barb DeBay says, "Hey, ladies."
Hey, Barb. How are you?
Hello.
So, I guess we'll get right to it. And I'm going to start my first question for Ashley. Don't forget, everybody, you can write in your questions. We'll do our very best to answer them for you. We love your interactions and your questions. So my first question, Ashley, is truthfully, I'm going to segue for a minute. I'm of Native descent. I am Métis, and I always felt drawn towards it, but I didn't understand why. And so I've always kind of had an attraction to Native customs and just learning about the culture, right? And you are Métis because of me, Métis, but you were attracted to Native American culture before we ever found out we had a connection. You want to tell me when your attraction for the culture started? I think I'd like to start there.
It really first started when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, when Brother Bear first came out. I wrecked so many DVDs and VHS tapes of that movie because I would be playing it on repeat for days.
Yeah, I know. I can't even watch it anymore.
And then it kind of died off in like elementary and early middle school, but it started again probably about 5 or 6 years ago in grade 9, grade 10, somewhere around there. One of my friends, she brought some sage to school, and we were smudging and stuff like that. And then in grade 10, I took Mi'kmaq Studies with Mr. Green at North Nova.
Shout out to Mr. Green.
Love you, Mr. Green.
Love you, Mr. Green.
And
thank you for kicking my butt in school.
We have Doug Stewart saying, "Hi, hey."
Hey, hon, how are you?
Hey,
it's nice you can
And
watch the show.
Sue Martin says, "I'm glad you're open again on Mondays."
Thanks, Sue.
And Mary J. Henley says, "Hello."
Hey, Mary Jane, you're watching 2 in 1 day. Look at you go, girl. All right, so we're going to go back to Ashley.
So, also in high school, we had powwows or Mawiomis that they call them in school now, and I always felt really attracted to like that class, and it's the only class I wanted to take in high school. I wanted to take it so many different times, and then I always felt an attraction to like even just the drawings that I did and the way I would dress and stuff like that, and all these different aspects of it, but I never knew why, and I always felt like, oh, well, I was like, I'm supposed to be Native, like, in my heart, and then when Mom found out she was Métis, I'm like, I knew it, I knew it!
Me too, I stopped thinking I was the milkman's daughter.
That's why I got the tattoo.
I'm kind of a kickback. My mom has red hair and green eyes, and my dad has light brown hair and gray eyes, and I have like brown eyes and black hair. So I always kind of wondered. I was like, there's got to be more than white in me. There's got to be more. So now I identify as Métis.
Yeah, no, like, I just always felt attracted to it, but I never knew why. And then everyone in the store kind of has their own specialty. And me being the least psychic sign of all, the only thing I do is smudging, pendulums, and dream catchers.
Yeah, but you make beautiful dream catchers.
I do.
And, you know.
I might sound kind of conceited saying that, but I do.
No, you do make
catchers.
They're a lot of work.
Yeah, it took me like a week to make that one for the...
And you do make beautiful dream catchers. And Amber, Ashley's twins, you want to pop on here and say hello and let everybody know that it's not just one kid? So we've got the twins for you for a few minutes tonight. Amber is going to be starting to make medallions, Native American medallions for the store.
Yeah. Once I get the beads and stuff for it and the felt and leather.
So you'd be able to buy those at the store.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Divination store near you.
Coming soon when we can get time off to make
Probably in a couple weeks, but it's very soon.
Cool. So do you want to stay on camera or do you want to go back over and sit with Matt?
Stay for a little bit, I guess.
Perfect. So, Ashley, now the big... Oh, do you have something to say?
Switch over a little bit.
Well, I don't...
Oh. Sorry, it's kind of informal tonight. So, I bet everybody's noticed a different surrounding tonight. That's because we're doing the show at my home. We didn't want to be out on the roads and walking home in the snow late at night, so we just decided to be informal since it's a family, and we would do the podcast here tonight. So that's what the different surroundings. You get a sneak peek into my house. So I'm going to ask the big question, Ashley. What is smudging?
Well, it's part, like, almost like the beginning of, like, a ceremony or a ritual, or just getting rid of, like, negative energy. And it's by, like, burning, like, sage and different plants, and some people use resin, but I don't particularly use it because I just learned that you can use it. I was never really told about that because I never went that far in depth with it. Because I mostly use white sage, sweetgrass, and lavender blends. Because I find that's my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
So I never even knew you could use resins. But it's like burning of different plants and stuff like that to get rid of like negative energy and cleanse and purify. And you can do it in like ceremonial spaces for your body, your aura, personal objects. I always smudge my stones before.
I was just going to say, we've talked about smudging before at community nights and such.
I even smudge my oracle cards. I did that several times before I even used them. You can do like, I don't know, like the ceremonial ritual spaces, but you can do it in your house. You can do just one room. I've smudged the store. I do it at least once a month or more.
Yeah, I smudge too. I smudge the crystals to keep them fresh because there's so much energy in the store. It's a public space.
And you can use it for centering and healing. And Mom's favorite thing to talk about, you can use it for grounding too.
Yeah. You know what? One of these nights we should do a show on grounding.
Yes.
We really should. There's so many people in desperate need of grounding.
There's so many different ways you can ground.
Yeah.
I tried smudging my apartment when we first moved in, and I set off the smoke alarm.
Yeah, be careful with your smudging. You don't want to set off smoke detectors.
I scare the crap out of my neighbors.
Don't worry, I'm just purifying.
So, you ready to go down our list?
I can.
So you want to tell us a bit about the history of smudging, like perhaps what you found out about how long it's been around or what culture?
Well, it's mostly, like, it's become really big in Western society, so it's not just the Native Americans that do it anymore, but that's where it was based off of, was from North America, the Native Americans that did it. But we don't really know too much about the history of it because of the Native American assimilation and then the Europeans coming in and trying to get rid of their culture. And, what was I going to say?
You lost your train of thought. That's why notes are good,
I
eh?
lost my train of thought. No, but between like 1790
Wi-Fi off,
and
guys.
1920 was the big time for assimilation. And they were trying...
Hold on, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Keep your spot. I do have a question. Is the video feed and the volume coming in good to you? It is a new Wi-Fi we're using, and everything's all kerfuffled, and I've never had a chance to tell everybody to turn off the Wi-Fi. So I just want to make sure it's not lagging and that the volume's coming good for you. So could someone please comment? We'll have Justin watching to see, and we're getting good reports. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Who was at the comment? I'm nosy.
It's all going good.
Are people telling you that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So thanks, guys, for your support and letting us know. We just are committed to bringing the best show
Yeah.
possible.
Sue Martin says everything is going great. Terry says everything looks and sounds great, even better than usual.
Oh, maybe we should start doing it here from now on. We get a better Wi-Fi connection here. It'll be something to consider. It's definitely more comfortable.
Yeah, it is. I love this coach.
Yeah, we
every penny.
Your coach sucks you in.
What?
I said your coach sucks you in.
It does. So we'll get back to Ashley, where you left off. I hope you remember.
I hope so. But yeah, anyway, so it was an effort by especially the United States. I know there's been a lot of talk with them lately, but anyway. So they were trying to at first merge into the Native Americans into their culture because the Europeans and stuff didn't believe their way was proper, and the Europeans were all that. And especially in the movie Pocahontas is where you see it a lot, right? And
You can tell Ashley's a Disney child.
Yeah.
Go to the kitchen.
But yeah, like I said, they were trying to merge it at first, but then especially after the Indian Wars, they tried to where's that part at? They outlawed a lot of the practices and stuff like that, and that's why like the history, like smudging and everything like that, it's really murky and we don't know too much because all the history was pretty much wiped out.
Do you know, I find it ironic. I'm going to segue again for a second. When, in many times, England and Scotland battled, the last attempt, they tried to outlaw the Highlanders' heritage and culture. And Europeans come over here and tried to outlaw the Native Americans. It just seems to be a theme that keeps going, and yet their culture keeps coming back up. People identify with their culture.
Yeah. And did Mr. Green call it? A lot of the reason we know about Native American culture is because of, like, I think he called it oral traditions or something like
oral
that.
traditions.
It's
People
'cause
kept it going verbally.
there wasn't a lot. Well, they didn't have paper like we do, or like Bic pens to write it all down.
So they kept, like, telling stories, and they made up legends and things like that to be able to pass down their history. And there's a couple of reasons why we know stuff, but that's, like, one of the only reasons we know about it. So
Excellent. So, moving forward, what exactly is the purpose of smudging?
Well, a lot of people do it when they feel, like, anxious or apprehensive or depressed, or really any kind of negative energy. But you can also do it to, like,
Purify?
to purify, and
Like when you're doing ceremonies or stuff like that?
whenever it feels right. Like, you can even do it not just to get rid of the negative energy, but just to do it when you're happy. Because some people say that the Native American smudge burning stuff is like our incense burning. That's why they use a lot of resins and stuff too.
So you can pretty much do it whenever you want, but some
Yeah.
purposes are for clearing negative energy, cleansing cards and stones,
So, like, some of
and ceremony.
the best times to do it, like, you can do it any time, but any time's perfect. And some of the most common things to do are, like, full moon for letting go, or a new moon for new beginnings, especially when you first move into a house or apartment. The changing of the seasons, when you start a new job or business, or if you keep hitting your knee.
I'm sorry.
Before you meditate, during an illness, or when you're sick or something like that, to lift your mood, after you break up with someone, after an argument, after a negative guest leaves or enters your house. I've done that.
Sue Martin says, I always smudge during the full moon and new moon, and just when I feel guided to.
There you go.
Yeah, because sometimes you just feel guided to do it, and just do it for the heck of it.
That's a really good point, Sue. Just because you're guided to do it.
I used to do it all the time on my doorstep.
A lot of people, too, we burned like a whole bag that night.
Yeah.
Some people think, like, with the ghosts and stuff like that, do it when you're around, like, negative spiritual energies, and, like, me and Amber thought we seen an apparition at our house, so we burned an entire bag of sage. Took us, like, 2 hours, but we did it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, you too.
Ghostbusters!
For when someone needs their chakras aligned.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go to my next question then. Does anybody have any questions or comments about smudging? We love your input.
Ask me a question, Matt.
So, Ashley, what do you need to smudge? I know there's all kinds of fancy stuff for smudging. I sell it. But what do you need to smudge?
Well, really, it depends on your personal preferences. But, like, the actual tools that a lot of people have in their kits
Here, I'm
is...
going to pass you some of the tools.
Oh, put this for a second. Well, your smudge sticker resin to burn. Where'd my paper go? There it is. I'm losing everything. I'm very
You
scattered
are.
brain today.
You can also use loose sage.
Yeah, you can use loose sage too. You don't have to actually use smudge sticks sometimes.
Or you could untie the bundle.
That's what I did.
I do that a lot. I'll untie the bundle and just burn like a piece at a time as needed.
A lighter or a candle to light it.
Oh, we even have a candle.
Oh my god, I can't see. A flame-resistant shell or bowl. I use Avalon shells because it's kind of like the water element in the 4 different elements.
But they get really hot.
You could use ceramic pots too. Anything that doesn't burn.
Yeah, anything that doesn't burn. Feathers to kind of fan the smoke and out.
Okay, so that seems like an awful lot to hold. So you're going around with your smudge over your shell, your big cigar, and you're holding it over your shell.
You can even just use, like, just place the smudge stick in the shell so you're not holding it. That's what I do.
Oh, that would make things a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
So you just kind of
Yeah.
waft the smoke wherever you want it to go.
I use this more when I'm doing spaces, but not just people, but salt. It helps soak up any, like, residual energy. And then what they always do in Supernatural, salt around the windows and under the doorways for sort of like a barrier. They do that a lot in the show, and it just soaks up any residual energy, like even just coming off of you.
So after you're done smudging, you want to just put a bit of sprinkle of salt around?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think it's anointing oils.
That would drive me crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I don't do it in here.
salt it whoever you want to. Hey, you got negative energy.
But
So we'll start a new trend whenever we don't want to be around someone. Throw salt at them to neutralize them. So if you get salt thrown at you, somebody's saying you're not fun to be around.
But I've
That's
never
makes me
really
funny.
heard about anyone using this, but like anointing oils before you do it.
I would think
They
that would be
probably
more ceremonial.
in the more ceremonial rituals, they use it in the preparation of yourself, and it's very important to prepare yourself. And we'll get into that later. But,
That was actually going to... Nope. My next question was going to be, can you tell me, but I sell different types of smudge at the store.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to get into next.
Sue Martin says, a good thing to remember is always smudge yourself before smudging your area.
Yes. And before you smudge, I always do it before I smudge anything, even if it's my rocks. I always do it to myself before I do anything.
So you're a smudge junkie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have told you.
We might need to start a support group for Ashley, the smudge junkie.
But there is different types of the smudge sticks you can use. Like sweetgrass is the most, or not sweetgrass, sage is the most popular. And pretty much all the blends you can buy have a bit of sage in them because they attract so much positive energy and drive out so much negative. But sweetgrass is really good for attracting positive energy too, and it attracts beauty and of course sweetness. Cedar actually wards off sickness. Lavender, it brings spiritual blessings and it's really good for relaxation. Tobacco is actually...
Hey, I smudge myself every time I have a cigarette.
But tobacco is actually considered the most sacred plant, and at powwows and stuff like that, I witnessed it myself. They'll go around to all the dancers and give them a tobacco offering because it's considered to be...
So is it just like dry tobacco or is it like burning tobacco?
It was like cigarette tobacco, wasn't them giving out of the back.
Yeah, but do they give it while it's not burning or while it's burning?
Well, it's not burning.
Like the smoke. Do they waft the
No.
smoke around
I
themselves?
didn't see them do that, no. But they just kind of like put it in their pocket kind of thing. And then
I guess smoking isn't bad.
it's really good for chasing away like bad negative energy and feelings, and it brings really good positive energy and thoughts. And it's also to help connect people to the spirit world.
Okay.
Because it's so sacred. Like I can't say that enough. It's a really sacred plant in that history
Tobacco.
and culture.
And yet mainstream tobacco users have to stand outside in the cold.
Oh, and why the abalone shells are used, I think I'm pronouncing that right. They're believed to be like the representation of the last of the four elements. Like the shell's water, the flame or the smoldering plant is fire. Whatever you're using to burn is the plant, and then the smoke and stuff like that's the air.
Earth and then smoke.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're really big on like the four elements and
I can see how that would all meet the four elements.
yeah, and then the four seasons and circles, everything like that's big in the culture too. So.
Everything's symbolism.
Yeah, everything's symbolism in that culture, especially circles. Like you can't get enough circles in that culture. It represents unity and stuff like that.
Cool. So, do you need to prepare yourself to smudge?
Yes. Oh, you need to prepare yourself so
Do you
much.
have to get mentally prepared for it?
Yeah. I think mentally prepared is really what you need to do. Like, I can tell if I don't smudge myself enough before, or... One sec. Switch to my next spell. Oh yeah, no, I wrote it backwards. You're gonna want to, like, first, like, some people meditate and want to balance yourself. So,
But you
ground yourself.
I'm gonna go back for a second. You said you could use smudge before meditation?
Yeah.
But now you're saying meditate to smudge. I'm confused. Sorry.
Well, some people do it before meditation, like if they're doing like a long meditation period. But like, I usually do the meditation like before I smudge something else besides myself. But I think more meditate, they mean like ground and find your balance,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because if I don't smudge enough, or if I don't ground myself, or if I don't find my balance before I do it, even if it's just myself, I'll find myself with headaches. I'll be feeling really weak and extreme lack of energy.
And maybe like not a cleansed heart.
Yeah, I'll feel really blah, and I'll even get anxious myself, right? Like kind of the feeling some people get when they have a bad tarot card reading, and then they draw in the negative energy themselves.
I actually know some readers who do smudge before they do a reading to clear the energy before they go looking at the cards.
And that's why usually after a smudge session of anything or a person or stuff like that, I'll do the preparing myself again, but afterwards. So just to kind of clear it off myself, because the residual energy can actually latch on to the smudger. You know what I mean? Because once negative energy leaves something, it has to find something else to latch onto, right?
So should you smudge like towards a door, sweeping all the negativity out?
We're actually going to be getting to the
sorry.
later.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, ahead of you. You want my old lady glasses?
Actually, that might help.
Don't you have glasses?
No. But, a list of supplies you... Oh, I already did that. Where am I at, Mom? Preparing yourself for the space, I think, was our next question.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about now, preparing yourself.
But yeah, to prepare a space, or like, even if you're doing it in like for a person in a room, you're going to want to move like the furniture and some stuff like that to make it easier to move around, because there's a lot of moving and smudging. There's a whole lot of it. Because you're kind of like just moving in and trying to get as much covered as you can.
Do you want to get like the corners and...
Yeah.
Yeah, go to my apartment. There's 18 of them in my living room.
You count your corners?
Yes.
I have 12 corners in my bedroom because of the way they cut this stuff.
And it must be tedious to smudge every one of those 12 corners.
Right it is.
Oh my goodness.
Especially when I did the outside of the building. We had to, I just walked around.
So my last question I had was, can you smudge spaces? But you just basically answered that one for me.
Well, you can smudge anything. It's just really, not a lot of people know how to do it or when to start smudging a place. Like, you know what I mean? But, I know how, like, to smudge a person is different from smudging a space. It all depends on the person and, the way I do it is what I'm doing it for. But, like, to smudge a space, at first you're going to say, like, an opening prayer or, like, an affirmation kind of thing. I don't know what that word means, but you're going to want to say it, like...
An affirmation.
Like, basically say that you want to...
Go into this with a clean heart.
You want to go into this with a clean heart, and you're going to want to state your intentions. Okay. Of, like, you want to get rid of the Jacqueline.
If you're, like, saging a place that has, like, a spirit, what type of sage would you use?
Tobacco.
For smudging a place with negative energy, myself, I've used, like, I've used white sage and sweetgrass, because those are really good for driving away negative energies, but I've also used tobacco.
When I first moved into my apartment, I mixed lavender and sweetgrass and white sage.
Lavender's really good, too. But the stuff you're going to use to burn is really depending on what you're going to be smudging.
Is there, like, different kinds of sage that would be best to burn for different stuff? Like,
yeah. Well, it doesn't even just have to be sage.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
Oh, yeah. Like, you can get, like, blue sage and white sage, but it's kind of...
Is there, like, a huge difference? Is it just the color? Or...
I don't really find there's a huge difference, but... Like I said, it really depends on your personal preference.
Well, some of the smudge sticks I sell have sweetgrass. They have frankincense, myrrh.
There's some lemongrass and
dragon's blood.
There is one I really like. I think it's the one that I bought. Was a blue sage and the second one I bought. The first one was sweetgrass and white sage. It was bluegrass and lavender, or blue sage and lavender.
Okay.
But I also like using sweetgrass sprays. But anyway.
So, I do have a question before you go back to your list. So, smudging is a really good way to help you ground. You can use it for grounding.
And it's also really good for anti-stress.
I noticed it when people get, like, anxiety attacks. Like, the best thing to do is grounding. And I notice a lot of people are more starting to turn towards smudging when that happens.
Excellent.
James Edward asked, what kind of salt can you use? Table salt, rock salt, or does it matter?
Any kind of salt will help
It
neutralize.
doesn't really matter. Like, a lot of people use table salt because it's the easiest to get. Some people prefer like the Himalayan salt, like similar to the bath salts we have at the store.
I use rock salt.
Rock salt is really good too, but table salt's usually just in your kitchen, so that's what a lot of people will use, right?
It's much more accessible.
Yeah. But there's just different types of salts that can be better. Just
I guess again, it's personal preference and
Yeah.
availability.
yeah.
Great question, Jim. Thank you. Is there any other questions for us?
No, that's it.
So, I'm gonna let you finish because I have another question for you. I just
Okay,
can't
well,
forget it.
ask your question first. Then.
I was gonna see if you had an example of like a smudging prayer.
I don't have one exactly because I kind of change it up.
Can you give us an
Actually-
example of yours?
Wait,
I know some
I
people.
have it on my phone.
Mary J. Henley asked, is it good if you're depressed?
Yes.
Oh my!
yeah.
I can't get out stressed enough how good it is if you're depressed. Because myself, I've been diagnosed by a therapist and my mom with clinical depression. And when I'm having my low days, then I will smudge the crap out of everything in myself.
I'm actually gonna go to that a little bit more. Number one, smudging during depression is a wonderful practice. Number one, it makes you feel you're doing something to take control of your depression. That's the first and foremost thing it gives you. You are actively doing something physical to combat your depression. Number two, the practice of smudging clears negativity. It purifies your body, your soul, your heart, and your mind. So you get so many wonderful benefits from it. I did have a third point, but I forgot. So if I remember it, I'll put it on later.
Yeah, like this is the one that I use.
Wait, hold on. Answer the question. Or comment.
I noticed, like, just since I started getting back into it, a lot of people will say the Lord's Prayer, but in the Mi'kmaq language, like a lot of people will say it like that.
Like our Father who art in heaven.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I lost the thing.
Like, I don't know if it's any different, but I know a lot of people have that hanging around.
Yeah, like the one that I use, like in Native culture, they believe in like the Creator and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's kind of what it's based off of. But the one I use when I do people and myself is may your hands be cleansed that they create beautiful things. May your feet be cleansed, that they might take you where you most need to be. May your heart be cleansed that you might hear its messages clearly. May your throat be cleansed that you may speak rightly when words are needed. May your eyes be cleansed that you might see the signs and wonders of this world. May this person and space be washed clean by the smoke of these fragrant plants, and may the same smoke carry our prayers spiraling to the heavens.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Not only does it give hope, which the words do totally give hope, but just the ceremony of it. When you were just saying that, I could just feel something calming and soothing inside of me.
That's the one I've been using for probably about 4 or 5 years.
I think we're going to have to post that to the Facebook page for everybody so that they can have access to it easier. Just saying it just made me feel better.
Yeah.
Are my feet too much in the way? We're getting cozy at home now.
Yeah, so you're going to say your opening prayer affirmation, and you're also going to kind of continue saying it in your head, but along with whatever your person's being smudged for. I usually try to repeat that and work it into the prayer affirmation. But then you're going to face east, I believe it is, in the space, and you're going to light your materials. Then you're going to fan up the flame so it kind of smolders and there's not a giant flame in your face.
Yeah, that's another thing. You don't want it to have like a big old flame. You want to light it like incense, get it good and burning, and then you want to blow it out and use the smoke. You don't actually use the flame to smudge, you use the smoke for beginners. I know a lot of people are well practiced and don't need to know that, but if there's first time smudgers watching, I want to make sure they're safe.
Yeah, and then this is kind of works into the preparing yourself. So you're going to want to close your eyes and fan the smoke over yourself. Like, I usually start with my head and work down to my feet, kind of stop at my heart.
For in grounding, that's an excellent philosophy. In grounding, you start with your head and work your way down. Let the energy and negativity flow out.
Yeah,
at the bottom.
Like, I kind of just work my way down, but I always start with, like, my heart, because I have a very strong heart and everything latches onto my heart, and I feel everything in my chest. Like, if I'm angry or I'm sad or anything, I always feel it here, so I always make sure to do my heart and my chest a little bit more than everything else. but I always work my way down because that's always how I've been taught how to ground and how I've always grounded myself.
Did Justin put the second time halfway through to let people know about guessing the numbers for people that were a bit late joining? If not, could you do that?
Yeah.
You know how we do it twice?
So-
I don't know if he did or not.
Then you're going to state your intentions of like clearing the location of the negative energy or whatever's in that.
Whatever you want to accomplish with your smudging. Like, I'm smudging my cards. My intention is to clean all the
And to protect them.
energy and protect my cards. Or if my stones is to revitalize and refresh my stones.
Yeah. So you're even just like, I even smudge for protection, so I'll state what I want to protect, who I want to do it, and my intentions for it. So then in the space, you're going to start in the farthest room from an exit door. So, like, if we were smudging in here, we'd start in the kitchen. Yes, Amber.
But you have an exit door in the kitchen. It's called the back door.
We don't exit through that door.
You do sometimes. My mom says too.
Colin wants a tissue.
Yeah, let's make it quiet.
Sorry, everybody. We changed our moderators.
Okay, so,
So,
then you're going to smudge each corner. I usually start in the farthest corner from the door. And then you're going to want to do all the walls and the window frames. But I always, it sounds kind of weird, but I'll always open up the windows and cover the mirrors. when I'm doing a
Why would
space.
you cover the window mirrors?
Because I've watched Supernatural too many times, and negative energy really likes to get trapped in mirrors.
Not only that, mirrors are reflectors and they can reflect it back.
Yes, exactly. They're reflectors of really bad, like, not really bad energy, but, like, negative energy.
They can reflect anything,
Yeah.
positive or negative. And you just want to be safe and you want to make sure
Yeah.
that the negativity you're trying to clear is not reflected
Yeah.
back.
But you're also going to want to open all of your doors in the location, like the exit doors, the closets, not necessarily the cupboards. I don't do the cupboards. But then you want to do the window frames and stuff like that, and make sure you cover, I cover my mirrors, open the windows. Then and while you're doing, you're going to continue to set your intentions for light and love and your affirmation and the prayer you recite it. Then after you complete an area, like a room or a corner or something like that, you're going to sprinkle the salt in the center of the room and then around the windows and the doors, kind of as a barrier or to help soak up the energy. Then you're going to kind of work clockwise through the location. You're just kind of doing the circle still. And at the end of it, you're actually going to, after you completed the smudging, you're going to say a closing prayer of the gratitude, love, and light, and you're going to want to thank, it doesn't even have to be a god or
Your belief.
the creator, your belief, or even just yourself for the smudging and the helping and all that stuff and the protection. Yes,
Maybe
Amber.
possibly thank the plant too.
I bet you didn't know it's 28.
Oh wow, we're gonna have to wrap this up so we can do everybody's reading. So get your numbers ready, people. I'm gonna do the big reveal at 1:45 of what the number is that I've Ashley's chosen.
Yeah, it's my lucky number.
I know what it is.
Well, you can't guess then.
Matt doesn't know. So yeah, then you, I always do it myself afterwards too, but you don't have to do it, is to smudge yourself just to kind of get rid of some of the residual energy. And I always kind of make sure to, yes, Amber and Matt.
I have a question. What if two people guess the same number? Does that mean two people get a free
Yes.
reading? Okay.
If two people guess the same number, then they both get the reading.
Did you have a question, Matt?
Yeah. I was wondering if smudging can it be used to relieve physical pain, like a headache or
I find it does help sometimes.
Especially if there's a lot of tension.
Yeah, if it's a lot of tension, it can not necessarily help with pain, but it can help with the relaxation and the
I find
Or
it
maybe your frame of mind for dealing with
frame
pain.
of mind for dealing with it. You know what I mean?
same as
It can kind of help with the mental effects of it, and it can make you feel better about it. That you can actually do something about it. And then,
So that's everything. So we have a few minutes before we're actually going to do the big reveal. Does anybody have any other questions about smudging?
I thought people were going to be asking me questions.
There was a crap ton of questions asked to you through this.
Yeah, but usually you have a whole, you can't even read your paper. There's so many questions. I was kind of relieved.
For beginners, what sage would you recommend?
when I first started, I was recommended to use white sage because it's so good for so many things, and it's like the most popular sage. So probably white sage.
Kyle?
Is there a difference in the sages other than like the smell, or like does a different sage?
Different
help?
properties.
Different properties, and sometimes they can be better for different things. It just all depends on your preferences and what you're smudging.
I can't see. I was 22. Yeah, no, 1:45, we picked the numbers. So, have we got any questions, Justin?
Nope.
All right, then I'm going to go to...
Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have any other questions. We really prepared that well. The trouble is, with doing it from home, I forgot everything to bring, so I don't quite have my list that I follow. And we did talk about roots, we talked about the SPCA, and we talked about liking and sharing, and that we're open on Monday. We did mention a couple times, pick the number for the reading. And then we just have, like, our kindness. But I don't really want to get into that just yet. So,
Oh, there was a really good act of kindness done at the store today. There was an older man, or a couple older men.
yeah, there's a benefit.
They were out shoveling the fronts of the store fronts for us, and some old man came and shoveled the front of our store for us.
Yes, he did, and that was so
He
sweet of
shoveled
him.
off our stairs and the sidewalk for
So,
us.
shout out to the mystery man who shoveled out in front of our store, Amber.
Can I say an act of kindness on there that
Yeah.
happened to me and Matt tonight?
Yeah,
Oh my
if you want
God.
to share an act of kindness, you go right ahead. We love sharing them. But try and keep names of the Good Samaritan out.
Me and Nat, sitting over there, we decided
Fiance.
we decided to go to Halifax today to celebrate our first anniversary together. And there are actually two acts of kindness. Well, the first one was for my father because he got lost in downtown Halifax. So being a truck driver, he's used to that stuff. So we called him and we were on the phone with him the whole morning. And then on our way home, we took the wrong exit and got lost somewhere between Bible Hill and... No, it was Dartmouth and Halifax. And then a guy at the Needs that was there told us that he would take us back to the highway, and he drove us halfway to Truro.
Oh, wasn't that great of him? So shout out to the map dude.
And we got a question from James Edward saying, can it get rid of ex-wives' negative energy and past or pesty in-laws?
It can help you in dealing with the negative energy. If you can convince them to let you smudge them, it will help with their negative energy.
I shared like the act of kindness that I did a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So at school, I stood up for somebody that really needed it, and it all worked out.
Oh, wonderful. Helping people that need a voice.
There's another one. A guy was standing outside of Starbucks that was in downtown Halifax. He was just standing there, and everybody that walked by him, he's like, have a great day, have a great day. Hope you're doing okay today.
That's wonderful. There's
There
so
was,
much kindness in the world.
And when me and Amber were at school, a bunch of our friends got together, and actually, one of the girls comes into the store that I go to. We did this day, or the leadership class, I think it was actually, because we kind of did it the next year when the leadership class left. They had a sign that said free hugs.
Oh,
We went around giving hugs to everybody.
so much positive energy getting out there.
Shout out to Mr. McKenzie for that one.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie.
All right,
Love you, Mr.
so
Green.
everybody got their numbers.
Northumberland.
All right, the number that we picked is between 1 and 40, and it is lucky 13. So,
That's a lucky
Arlene
number.
Baker, you
Shout out to
won the
Arlene.
free daily reading today. So, congratulations to you. That's exciting. All right, so I'm going to clear some space here, get some energy into my cards. Oh, Justin, can we put this down there by you?
Yep.
And Ashley, can you move yours? Because I'd like...
Oh, gosh.
So, Arlene, are you there and ready for your reading?
Yeah, she said, wow, I can't believe it.
You hit the nail right on the head, too. It was exactly... No, above or below, because usually we go to the net, like, if nobody picks the exact number, we pick the one closest to it without going over. This is 2 weeks in a row they've been head on.
We were going to say this 2 weeks in a row that Arlene won it. I'm like, no.
I don't know.
Someone else won it last week.
Arlene Baker said yes.
Do we know what the next podcast would be about?
We're hoping that's still going to be Mike Thompson. So we have the Knight of Wands. we have the Three of Cups, we have the Two of Wands, and we have the Empress. So right off the bat, Arlene, I am going to say it looks like your family is going to be expanding. The Knight is a young man. He's ambitious. He's goal-orientated. He's got a good drive, like a work ethic, or, if he's in college, he's very serious in his studies. And crossing that, we have the Three of Cups, which is marriages, births, weddings, and celebrations. So it looks like there's a birth or a wedding in your fairly close future. So with that, we have the Two of Wands, and that is successful partnership, hang on to money. So if it's a baby or a wedding, don't go too big. And the Empress is a wise woman. She's a majestic woman, a woman who's confident and sure of herself. She's also very nurturing. It can indicate children again. What?
Is that your friend, Miss Baker? I don't remember her first name.
Arlene. Amber, you made me lose my train of thought. So, she's a majestic woman. She's very caring, very thoughtful, very insightful. You can also see she's pregnant in the thing, so it could indicate children, very likely, especially with the Three of Cups coming up. And, just a wonderful woman that's guiding to people. So that is your reading. The Page of Wands, the Three of Cups, celebrations, weddings, marriages, births. The Two, hang on to money, successful partnership, and the Empress. So those are the cards that you come up, and I'm sure you can figure out how they interact in your life. I don't often see the conclusion of how a reading interferes, and I'm glad you won it, and I hope you enjoyed it. So with that being said, I lost my paper. So I just want to thank everybody for the incredible support that they've given us over the last 6 months.
Arlene Baker says, wow, thank you so much.
Oh, I hope you liked it, and I hope it makes more sense to you. Sometimes, especially if I'm not around the person, it's harder for me to interpret the meaning, and so I hope you got something out of it. But I just want to thank everybody for your support with these podcasts, with the daily readings, with the store. You guys are fantastic, and we know without you there wouldn't be a store. There'd be no reason to have a store without your support. There'd be no reason to have a show without you watching it. So I just want to, I want us all to sit back and say, yes, I am a good member of the community. I am supporting.
I helped them stay open for 6 months.
Yeah.
And Arlene Baker also says, I will let you know if there is a birth or wedding.
Perfect. It's not too far away from what the cards are indicating.
And maybe it'll be both.
Maybe. So I just thank you, everybody, for your support, for your kindness, and we love to hear your act of kindness stories. We try to keep names, identifying factors out, but we just love sharing those stories. I don't know about anybody else, but you get all the uplifting quotes on Facebook and stuff. But I find in our community, with actual people we know, hearing these wonderful stories of people's kindness is really uplifting.
Don't forget, Mom already said it in a previous podcast. I don't know if it was daily reading or a weekly one, but you can message the store with an act of kindness you've seen, or you performed yourself, or someone did for you. If you'd like to share it on the page, we can put it on, but we will keep your name out of it.
We will keep confidentiality, exactly, yeah. And we just love sharing the stories because I think it builds us all up to when we know that there's really kind people in media, in the news. There's so much negativity that it's really nice to see something positive in your own community. Yeah. And I just want to remind everybody to shop local because you're building your community. And I guess that's everything we wanted to say.
Another act of kindness I've seen today is me and Mom went to the pharmacy because I needed to get some things, and we got to cash, and the lady noticed I was a bit short on change, and I was still short anyways. Mom gave me a couple dollars there, but the cashier was actually like, we have this, it's the store brand, it's the exact same thing, it's cheaper, would you like me to switch it out for you? And she actually took off I think it was 10 plus cents for me, so it could be an even number, so I didn't have to use a bunch of change.
Yeah,
She was really sweetheart.
there's all kinds of ways of kindness. Oh, we got 2 people wanting to talk now.
Jeff goes first.
Another act of kindness that I received, like whenever I'm down or like sad or depressed or anything, like people like know how to make me laugh without even trying.
Yeah. Amber?
Another act of kindness that I noticed was Matt, actually. After panicking for 4 hours driving home from Halifax today, because it takes that long during a snowstorm, he bought me a chocolate bar.
Aw.
and,
All right. We're doing too many. Let's hear other people's acts of kindness. I don't know about anybody else, but I got to go pee. So I kind of like to wrap up the show. But thank you all for tuning in. And tomorrow we'll get Ashley's act of kindness on.
I was just going to say Amber and Matt are driving me home today.
Oh, yeah. Amber and Matt are driving me home. So shout out to Amber and Matt coming out in this weather to drive Ashley to her house because she has to be up stupid early in the morning. But again, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a great night. And remember, light and love, share it around, make the world a better place. So take care, and we will see you, tomorrow for the daily reading, but next Wednesday definitely for our podcast.
I'm pretty sure it's Mystic Mike doing this week.
Yeah, that's it. Well, weather.
Did you just say
Weather
Magic
program.
Mike?
Mystic Mike. So, bye, everybody. Take care.
Have a good night.